Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pure Ambition podcast. And I haven't been doing a lot of these solo episodes. I tend to really only do them when I have something big, something exciting going on in life. But I've been thinking about doing more of them. But that is a topic for me and me alone. But today, since I do have something coming up, by the time you're listening to this, I will have a new life change. I will be in pursuit of a new life change, which I am very excited about. It's been in the works for a while, and stay tuned for a little while, and I will get to that. But the first thing I wanted to kind of address today is a few things. Well, the first thing being an update on my training, an update on my diet, and just currently where I'm at physically. So the last time I did a solo episode, it was post Coastal Delaware Running Festival Marathon, which I was trying to go for the sub 3. Obviously, as you guys had seen from the content and from that podcast episode, that didn't fare too well. However, we bounced back. We did what the heck was that called? The Quest for the Crest 50K. Had to look over there. I do have the medal because it did finish. It was a Quest for the Crest 50K in Burnsville, North Carolina at Mount Mitchell, which was absolutely ridiculous. It was 12,000 feet of elevation gain and 23,000 feet of elevation change over just under 36 miles, which was by far the hardest thing I've ever done, but also hands down the coolest. Like, those views from the top of Mount Mitchell were straight out of the movie. Straight out of a freaking movie. And that was a great bounce back W that I needed just because huge L from the Coastal Delaware Marathon, but still learned a lot of lessons. But ultra marathons are extremely different from a regular marathon in terms of pacing, fueling strategy. The vibe is just different. The energy is different. Like, it took me 13 hours to do 36 miles, whereas obviously if you're out there running a flat marathon as fast as you can, you're out there for 3-4 hours or so. This was completely different, but it was pretty epic, and I'm definitely going to get into doing some more ultras in the future. So, update on my training. I have unfortunately been dealing with runner's knee in both my knees, so I have not actually ran in coming up on 3 weeks now. And it's been frustrating just because after running almost every day for the past year, it's become part of my routine. It's what I do to clear my head. It's how I start my day. It sets me up for success. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, everything. And not having the community of being able to go out and meet up with some friends or, whoever else to go for a run, has kind of sucked, to be honest with you. However, it has been a nice change of pace in terms of doing different things from a training standpoint. So, my shout out to my coach, Mark Bottenhorn. He's an absolute beast. If you guys don't know Mark, go check him out on IG at Bottenhorn Running. He has been programming my conditioning for me now since I haven't been able to run. I wanted to keep up some cross training. I wanted to keep building my aerobic base. I wanted to build an engine because I do have aspirations to do another sub 3 attempt come this fall, which I'll keep you guys tuned on that. However, not being able to run, cross training, it's a whole different style of training, right? Like, I've been crushing the freaking air bike, the rower, the skier. So some of these workouts have been tough, but it's again, like I said, it's a nice change of pace, and I can also pair them with my strength workouts. So rather than doing a run in the morning and then a lift in the afternoon, what I've actually been doing is I'll wake up around 5:30. I'll do my morning routine, which takes about 30 to 45 minutes. And then I'll sit down at my desk and I will get some deep work done for anywhere from 90 minutes to up to 3 hours. So about an hour and a half to 2.5 hours is that's usually the typical range. And then I'll hit the gym. I'll do 3 days a week. I'm doing leg strength training. I'm following the Knees Over Toes guys ATG program to help heal my knees. And 3 days of legs, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but it's not super intense where you're going to be super sore for the next couple of days like my leg days were when I was training for these past marathons. And then Tuesday's an upper body day. Thursday's like a body weight and mobility day with some zone 2. And then Sunday's an active rest day. But I've been pairing all of my strength with the conditioning sessions because on the longer days, they'll take about an hour, but my lifts are only taking anywhere from like 40 minutes to 50 minutes, honestly. So I'm just knocking them both out back to back. I'll do the strength training first, and then I will go and do my conditioning after. And it has been, I've enjoyed it just because it's given me some more time back later in the day where I don't have to go back to the gym. I don't have to worry about, post or pre-workout fueling and then go into the gym and then post-workout, pre-workout fueling, go to the gym, post-workout fueling, everything that goes into that. And it's given me some more time to do mobility. It's given me more time to get in the sauna, do some recovery stuff, and I feel really good. So in terms of my training, I've actually been enjoying the change of pace there and gotten away from doing the push-pull leg split, which I was following for this last marathon. So I've been doing 3 days of legs, 2 days of upper body, and 1 day of body weight and mobility. So it's been good. I'm enjoying it, and I feel good. My knees are getting better slowly but surely every day, making sure I'm getting on the foam roller, making sure I'm getting, mobility, stretching, things like that in. Also, just making time to do the quote-unquote biohacking type stuff, but, taking the cold shower in the morning, getting sunlight as soon as I can, drinking lots of water. Those have been staples for me. So it's just been a really, really nice change of pace in terms of my training. And I think that's important. I think it's important to have seasons in life. And I think it's important just as much to have seasons in your training. So I went from, 5 months of prep for the Philly Marathon last year, took a week off and jumped right into a 5 month prep for Philly Marathon. Took a week off, jumped back into the prep for the sub 3, and then took a week off and then trained for 3 weeks and then did an ultra marathon. So it was a year of just go, 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 go. And my body was like, dude, we need a little bit of a break. And so it honestly came at a perfect time because I have this big life change happening right now, and I wanted to take some time, focus on business, focus on recovery, focus on just training in a different way, not being so structured and strict and regimented to a specific style of training or a plan. Whereas if a friend wants to, or somebody else wants to get together and hit a lift, we can do that. So overall, working on quality of movement, still building my aerobic base, building up my engine, as they like to say, with doing a lot of cross-training, CrossFit style stuff where, sprints on the assault bike and then into burpees and, rowing for time and, all these things. So it's been tough, but it's been really beneficial. In terms of my diet, this has been something that has been really interesting. I was shoving 400 to 500 grams of carbs, maybe 600 grams of carbs, honestly, some days, when I was training for these marathons, just to make sure, if I'm training twice a day, I got to get that fuel in, I got to make sure I'm getting enough calories in. And I was sitting at about 195, whereas I felt like that was a little bit heavy for me, and I wanted to take these next couple of months before I get back into a prep to cut down a little bit, just to lean out and I have gone from about 195, which was where I was at before the Ultra about a little over a month ago, now down to about 188 pounds. So about 7 pounds down right now, and I'm feeling really good. And the biggest changes that I made to my diet recently are, number one, I'm keeping protein high. That really hasn't changed. However, I went from having about 50 to 60% of my daily total caloric intake come from carbs to now it's about 50% of my diet is coming from fats, 20% is coming from carbs, and about 30% is coming from protein. And again, I really don't, I track every now and again, but I pretty much eat the same thing every day. So like I would track my calories, put everything in MyFitnessPal just to see, how much protein I was getting, how much fat I was getting, how many carbs I was getting roughly, and how many total calories I'm getting. So I'm eating about, roughly 2,500 calories per day, maybe a little bit more on a big training day. However, I feel so much better. Like there were definitely some energy levels, like definitely having some issues with like energy at first for the first couple of days, just bringing my carbs so low. And granted, maybe I should have weaned my way off of them and kind of just lowered it slowly rather than just jumping right into slashing carbs and upping fats. But I have been doing time restricted feeding rather than like calling it intermittent fasting. Whereas 12 hours at least, but sometimes, 14 up to 16 hours, maybe sometimes even 17, 18 hours where I'm fasting completely and I won't have my first meal until, after that first morning workout. And if I do have anything beforehand, it's usually a cup of coffee with some collagen protein, some collagen and some heavy whipping cream or some organic grass-fed half and half. Throw it in there, and then maybe a little bit of honey or organic maple syrup, and a 2 before, which is like an all-natural pre-workout, which is phenomenal. If you want to check that out, check the link into the in the show notes. It's been my go-to. So I haven't been having the toast peanut butter honey combo or oatmeal that I had before. I've actually cut out like grains and gluten pretty much completely for the past month, and I will have like a little bit here and there, and I feel it in my gut. I feel it with my brain fog every time I introduce those back in. So I have been pretty consistent with eating just high fat, high protein, and then timing carbs around my workouts and getting most of that from fruit, honey, and raw milk. That has been predominantly where I've been getting most of my carbs from. And then, every now and again, I'm having some sweet potato, and squash, like some butternut squash. But every now and again, I'll have sweet potato or potato, things like that. But predominantly, it's been meat, eggs, avocado, fruit, honey, and salmon. And that's been pretty much my diet. And I feel really good. I feel lean. I feel strong. And just teaching my body to run more off of fat as fuel rather than carbs so that I don't have to rely so heavily on them as I get into this next training block and use them strategically as almost like nitrous boosts for a car. And in terms of returning to running, I did a running analysis with my friend Brady, who's a physical therapist, last week, and it was I did about a mile and a half, and I felt good. My form was solid. I'm really tight in my upper body when I run, so I got to work on that. And I supinate a little bit, so I strike on like more of the outside of my foot, like that. So it's like if you're looking at a foot, it's just like that. If you're watching this, but so did about a mile and a half, and I felt solid. But I really I don't want to rush into it because I know like my knees have not hurt this bad, and since I was coming back from my ACL surgery in college. So I am not in a rush to return to run. However, I do want to get there as quick as I can. So I'm going to be continuing to go to physical therapy every other week and continuing to do the stretches, the exercises, the strength workouts that are going to help my knees get better. And shout out to Ben Patrick and Knees Over Toes guy, man. Their ATG program is great, and I've been following it for my knees, and I can already see a difference just 3 weeks of following that. So would recommend if you have knee pain, checking that out. So that's my training, that's my diet, that's my update on returning to run. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks or so, I will be back to running consistently. Probably, starting with like 10, 15 miles per week, something in that range, and still continuing to add cross training in. Like, I'm really enjoying cross training, and it is less pounding on the joints and the tendons that comes from running. And so I'll definitely be keeping some air bike, skier, rower, those kind of workouts, conditioning workouts, cross training workouts in my routine for sure. So I'm sure you guys are wondering now, what is the big life change that you've got going on? We teased us long enough. I've been recording here for about 16 minutes or so. And the big change that I am having in my life right now is I am moving from Pennsylvania to Austin, Texas. This has been something that has been in the works. It's been in my thought. It's been in my mind for about 1.5 years since the first time I visited Austin. And the first time I went, I was like, I'm moving here by the end of the year. And that was 2022. And I didn't move. I ended up visiting again in September for about, a week. And again, just have been able to connect with so many more people down there. I've been able to experience the culture, the energy, the vibe in terms of like health and wellness, content creation, entrepreneurship. I don't think there's anywhere else like it in the world. So of all the places I've been, I've never been to a place where I feel like I just truly belong and like I need to be in that place than I do Austin, Texas. Every time I've gone there, the people are so welcoming. The vibe, the energy is off the charts. I'm getting invited to run groups and workouts and, coffee meetups and, grab smoothies and go for a walk and go to this and go to that. Literally, you can't even fit everything in there in one day. Not to mention how phenomenal the food is and the weather just being, it is hot right now, but overall, can't beat the sun and all the sunny days that come down there and the great weather. So definitely going to be a change from Pennsylvania and the environment that I've grown up in here. And again, I am incredibly grateful for my family, for my friends, for my upbringing, and just being able to grow up in the Northeast and being so close to Philly, and then a couple hours from New York, DC, Boston, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Like there's so many cities that I've been able to go and explore and bounce around the East Coast. And again, the people that I've grown up with have shaped me into the person that I am today. But I also have been living at home since I graduated in December of 2021 because I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do with my life or where I wanted to live, but I knew I didn't want to plant my roots in Philly, even though I love it here and I love all the people here and my whole family's here. I always knew that there was somewhere else that I wanted to go. I didn't know where it was going to be until I went to Austin and I got this feeling in my gut when the plane landed that this is where I was supposed to be at some point. So I made the decision a couple of months ago after I stayed in Austin for 2 weeks in March that by the end of the summer, I was going to move to Austin. And for me, I had to put a date on the calendar. Otherwise, I was going to keep pushing it off. So July 1st was the date that came up for me where I felt like that was the time to go. So I will be heading out beginning today, or yesterday. When is this? By the time this airs, I will be en route to Austin. And, why? Why Austin? Why am I moving there? A lot of people ask me, actually, what do I do for work? How do I make money? What is it that I do? Right? You see me posted on social media and podcasts and this, that, and the other. I am the co-founder of a health and wellness technology startup called Upspace. Upspace is a cultural movement. And what I mean by that is our bodies, minds have been poisoned by big pharma, big food, and the media companies just not telling us the truth about certain things and promoting these products and foods and things that are poisoning our minds and our bodies, right? And there's such a monopoly in terms of power in the United States. So you have all these big pharmacy companies, you have all these big food companies, and they have, and they're the ones funding all of these big media companies and things like, the CDC and the FDA and all this other crap. And granted, I do think these companies like that, I don't know why or how they're able to, legally promote the products that they do and say that, Lucky Charms are healthier than grass-fed, grass-finished beef or, pasture-raised eggs or something like that. It's just absurd. So Upspace is ultimately an all-in-one place. It's a community of like-minded individuals who are pursuing the best versions of themselves, who want a community to join. You can join my community where, we focus on running, strength training, mindset. So you can come into my program, my community, and you can connect with other like-minded individuals. You can ask me questions. We can continue to grow together. I can share resources, programs, workouts, routines. And for the average individual, the everyday individual, you can come on there and you can find a community where you can join other like-minded individuals and just overall help each other thrive. That's what it is right now. It is a community of people who want to, they want the truth. They want to live their best lives and they want to unite and, have other people to lift each other up, because community, like I mentioned about Austin, there's just so much power in community. So with Upspace, we are on a mission to unite and empower the world through wellness and really just radically improve the health and happiness of the human race. That is the ultimate goal. It's a huge goal. It's a huge mission, but I'm up for the challenge. And for me, I am not... Upspace is a technology platform. So it's on the App Store. You can go check it out in the link in the show notes. You can download the app. You can join my community. You can ask me questions. Again, connect with like-minded individuals. Follow some of the workouts and the programs that I've written in there. And for me, I'm not I don't code. I'm not coding the app. I don't work on the product side of things. I am more partnerships and relationships and kind of like the front-facing person. So for me, it just makes so much more sense to be around other people who are doing similar things, other creators, other, brand leaders and founders, and just ultimately bring people into this ecosystem and into this club and into this community, this collective of people who are ultimately just trying to make the world a better place. And that starts with our health and our fitness and our wellness, because if we don't have that, then we don't have anything. So that is why I'm going to Austin, Texas, because I believe that putting myself into that environment with those people, surrounding myself with those people, are going to lift me up, challenge me in new ways, and ultimately help me grow. My whole family, all my friends are here in Philly, and I can always come back home. And my family's always going to take me in. If all else fails, I fall flat on my face. I have a family that loves me and people who will care for me and welcome me back. And again, maybe I will plant my roots here again someday. But for right now, at 24 years old, I want to get out and see the world. I want to experience new things. I want to experience new culture. I want to be around different kinds of people who think differently, who act differently, who eat differently. I think it's so beneficial, especially in our 20s, to get out of our comfort zones, right? Like, we've grown up in, the most of us, in this like bubble of we've been around the same people in the same environment. Granted, not everybody, but for me, I've been in the same environment. I've been around the same types of people, which is great. Again, I love all these people. But at this point in my life, like, I have seen, every time I've traveled, it helps me think differently. I'm more creative. I'm a happier person. Like, there's just such a huge world out there to explore, and I want to explore a ton of it. And for right now, at least for the next year, Austin's going to be that place for me. There's so many people who I look up to down there, who I want to learn from, and really just experience that culture. And ultimately, I want to kind of bring that culture up here to Philly too, and just spread it around the world. Like, I feel like if Austin is this little hub right now of health and wellness, of people who are just, mission driven, and it's an incredible place, and I want to kind of take that and spread that around the world. So for me, I have had this calling, and it's taken me 3 visits to Austin to kind of solidify that this is the place that I wanted to go. This is the place that I wanted to be. And the first year and a half out of college were very tough, very frustrating. Going right into a startup and not really making any money, creating content, nobody was really watching, and just feeling kind of unfulfilled, and like, what's my purpose? And at the time, we didn't really have a product for Upspace, so I was like trying to grow brand awareness for something that really didn't even exist yet. And I'm so grateful for my mom for allowing me to stay at home for the past year and a half, and she's my best friend. I've got to spend a ton of time with my brother, with my brothers and my sister and our dogs, and just so much great family time together. I've been able to spend time with a lot of my friends, and made so many amazing new friends, and it's just given me like the opportunity to go out and take some risks and do some things that I wouldn't be able to do if I would have just taken a tech sales job or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that was the path that I was going to go down after I graduated. But I chose to follow my gut, follow my heart, follow my passion, do nutrition coaching, personal training, join Upspace, become a co-founder, create content even when I wasn't getting paid a dime for it, and just ultimately think about what I want most and not sacrifice like what I want right now. And that has all led me into this next chapter of life, where I will be heading down to Austin, Texas to start this new chapter of my life. So lots of new exciting things going on in life, but they're all good things. Scary for sure, but if you're not nervous, if you're not scared, then there's something wrong. Like, if you feel any sort of resistance to do something like this, but at the same time you feel like it's what you need to do, like you feel in your gut like this is where I need to go, but you're trying to rationalize every little thing about why you can't or shouldn't do it, that is a sign, my friends, that you need to go and do it. So if you just ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? You start to think about it, and it becomes a little less scary. And again, there's just an incredibly big world out there that we need to go out there and explore. And community is such a big part of that. So as you guys know, my mission is to unite and empower the world through wellness, inspire and empower 100 million people to be the happiest, healthiest, most fulfilled version of themselves. And I believe that Austin, Texas is the place right now in my life, in this next season, that's going to help me do that. And I love each and every one of you guys, and I'm so grateful for you tuning in and being a part of this mission. So, my challenge to you guys is to think about, what is one way I can introduce some novelty into my life. Go out there, meet new people, have new experiences, and ultimately just build your life resume. Go out there, do something that scares you, and ultimately you will continue to grow from it. So that is another solo episode of the podcast. The next time you'll hear from me, I will be in Austin, Texas. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.